Hello, my name is Mark Calvin. I have MS. I have RRMS, and I've had it for about 3 years. I was diagnosed April 27th, 2017, and I just wanted to talk about some things that a newly diagnosed person should know to ask their neurologist when they go. And it's important. I've seen a lot of questions and a lot of newly diagnosed people stressed out, as I was, and I just want to help alleviate some of that. So grab a pen and paper, and I'm going to talk about a few points here. I've got my notes here because with MS my brain doesn't work well, so I think I've got 14 points here. Don't worry, I'm not going to take a long time. I'm not going to talk a lot about all of them. When I post this, I will also put a link to my Facebook page, so you can message me, or if you're already Facebook friends with me, you can message me if you have questions. I do have to start off with the fact that I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a trained I'm actually a trained teacher and school administrator. So I have no medical practice, so any of these questions or anything stated here, please consult your doctor. So number one, the first thing, before you see your neurologist, or after you see your neurologist the first time, make sure you write down, number one, write down all of your symptoms, everything. Even if you don't think it's an MS symptom, or anything that any type of weird symptom, strange, balance, nerves, every once in a while it feels like somebody's tapping on my leg, anything, even if it's odd or embarrassing, write it down, mention it to your neurologist, any type of symptom. Because trust me, there are people out there that have some strange ones. I heard about one guy who's he has a lesion in a spot on his brain, and it makes everything taste like bacon. Everything. And if you like bacon, you're thinking, oh, that's pretty cool. Well, if you want to eat chocolate cake, you don't want chocolate cake to taste like bacon. But the point I'm trying to make is, even the weird symptoms, write them down. Make sure the neurologist knows. Number two, and this actually should probably be number one, but number two, make sure that the doctor you're seeing, the neurologist you're seeing, specializes in MS. That will make a huge difference. I'm not trying to discredit any neurologists. Neurologists are good, and they're excellent in their field. They're a heck of a lot better than I am. But when it comes to MS, it's important to have someone who specializes in that area. And you can go to the MS Society's website, and you can find doctors in your area who specialize in MS. And that is key, to find one. And please ask for a referral. When you're looking for that MS doctor, go to your primary care. You'll hear a lot of MS people talk about a PCP, primary care physician. Go to your MS doctor and ask for a referral to whatever your neurologist of choice. But remember, try your best to make it one that specializes in MS. Try your best to do that. Number three, ask your neurologist when you're going to get a new MRI and how often you're going to get MRIs. If you have MS, excuse me, I keep clearing my throat. I think it's part of my It's part of my condition. Um, get used to doing MRIs. You're going to do them a lot, especially the more severe your case is. Um, I get an MRI about every 3 months, a brain MRI. Um, when you're first starting out, you're probably going to get a brain, cervical, thoracic, and lumbar MRIs. At least brain, cervical, and thoracic. So you're going to spend some time in an MRI machine. Um, so get used to that. Also, when you're finished with your MRIs, ask for the CD. They can burn a CD. They can put the MRI on a CD. I have a whole stack of them. I have a whole stack of CDs that I keep track of them all. I get the printed report and I get the CD, and that's good. That type of thing is going to be on another video. What is the process going to be? This is number 4. Number 4. What is the process going to be to get a specific type of MS? How, primarily, I think there's 4 types of MS. And ask your neurologist where your classification is. Which type of MS do you fall into? That's key to know the progression, to know the diagnosis, and to later on know which disease-modifying therapy you need to be on. The therapies are scheduled based on the amount of damage. So it's key to know which type that you most likely fall into. Ask your neurologist. Ask your, especially MS specialist. Remember that. Find an MS specialist. Find that. Okay, number 5. Will I need physical therapy? I needed it. I had a relapse a few years ago, and it took 3 months of physical therapy to get me back to about 85-90%. So, will you need physical therapy? Possibly. And keep in mind, there's different types of physical therapy. I also had pelvic floor physical therapy, which you might need. That's a little bit of an embarrassing conversation, but it's necessary. Pelvic floor physical therapy, especially if you're having problems with going to the bathroom. But ask your neurologist. Number 5, ask him, will I need physical therapy? Number 6, should I be taking vitamin D, and how much? Should I be taking vitamin D, and how much? What's going to happen? Most likely, you're going to have blood draws. They're going to do a whole litany of labs. And one of the things they're going to look for is your vitamin D level. So ask them right up front, do I need to be taking vitamin D, and how much? And my neurologist told me to take the liquid vitamin D under the tongue, for the simple reason that it goes directly into the bloodstream, and when you take the pill, part of the vitamin D is lost in the digestive process. So ask about vitamin D. That's number 6. Ask about vitamin D. Number 7. What about your kids? If you have kids, should they be taking vitamin D? And what's the chances of them developing MS? There's some research and study out there about that. I don't know exactly what it is, so I'm not going to go into that type of detail. But ask, if you have kids, ask if they should be taking vitamin D to limit the chances that they develop MS. That's completely a call by your neurologist. My kids take vitamin D. They take the drops. And that was advised by my neurologist. So that's something that they do. Vision and bladder issues. So number eight, let's talk about other specialists that you may need to go to. Ask about other specialists. For example, vision, bladder, different types of specialists like that. If you're having urgency or frequency with urination, if you are having optic neuritis, one of your eyes goes blurry, you may need to see a neurologist an optician that specializes in neurology. May also specialize in vision with MS patients. You may have bladder issues that you need to see a urologist. Ask about specialists. That's number 8. Ask about specialists. Do I need to see any specialists other than the obvious, your neurologist? The next question is a really tough one. The next question could change your occupation. Number 9, let's stay with the pattern here. Number 9, can I and should I stay in the occupation that I'm in? Change of occupation. I had to change my occupation because the one I was in was high stress and it exacerbated my symptoms. Being a high school principal, there was way too much stress, way too much time. I didn't get enough rest. So I'm still in the education field, but I'm doing something completely different that doesn't require the level that high school principal requires. So talk to your neurologist about your career and about what you're doing in your everyday life. There may be some changes there, and that may cause some stress in itself. I know it did for me, but it may be important for your long-term health and welfare. So, number 9, ask about your career and your lifestyle. Are there any changes in anything that may adversely affect your MS? Because you'll find out that things like not really simple, but smaller things like stress, lack of sleep, those things will irritate your symptoms. Now keep in mind there's a difference between a relapse and exacerbation, and that's another video. But you can basically make MS mad and your symptoms flare up. So your occupation can and will be affected depending on what you're doing. So take a look at that one. Number 10. What type of diet should I be on? What type of diet should I be on, and what foods should I avoid, if any? There are foods that cause swelling, cause inflammation. There are foods that reduce inflammation. Ask about foods, ask about vitamin supplements, all of those types of things. Ask about those. That's number 10. What type of foods should I avoid? What type of foods should I add? What type of supplements should I add or cut out? Because trust me, they're going to go through, a good neurologist that's an MS specialist, they're going to go through about everything that you eat, everything that you consume to let you know this is bad, this is good. There's quite a bit of stuff there. So you think about those things. Make sure you ask that question. Okay, number 11. I don't have that many fingers. Number 11, 10, 11. There we go. What things can cause a relapse in symptoms or an exacerbation? We just kind of talked about that. Stress, heat, sometimes loud noises. Those things can cause an exacerbation. They can cause problems. So make sure you're aware of what those things are. Make sure you're aware of what they are. Make sure you're aware of yourself. Make sure you're aware of and take note of little things. You know, some people, loud noises. Loud noises are not good. Bright lights, loud noises. It depends. And that's one thing to remember. Everybody is different. Anybody watching this video, every person that watches this video may have some of the same symptoms, may have something completely different. So when you get into MS groups like on Facebook and maybe in person, when we can actually get back in person, you may discover that a lot of people are asking the same questions. You know, does anybody have this issue? Does anybody have that issue? And that's a good thing. You know, just in the 3 years that I've been in MS, I've heard the same question several times because new people are always coming in. You know, new people are always getting diagnosed and they're all wanting to know the same thing. That's the purpose of part of the purpose of this video and the videos that I'm going to put out is to help give you a jump start on some of the questions and some of the concerns and some of those things. Question number 12. Question number 12. What type of treatments can I be eligible for? There's a big one. What kind of treatments? I've heard them called DMDs, disease-modifying drugs, or DMTs, disease-modifying therapies. And it really depends on which one and what level and all of these questions. And there's a lot of things that go into these. There's everything from shots you give yourself to pills to IVs to there's all kinds of things. So it's important that you're open and honest with your neurologist about all of your symptoms and you get your MRIs and all those things so they can make the right choices for which therapy you're on. And when you're on that therapy, if you start having issues, make sure your neurologist knows. Talk to them. I message my neurologist 2 or 3 times a month, just sometimes with questions. You know, and questions like let me skip one. Let me skip down to number 14. So make a little space on your paper, skip down to number 14. So we're on number 14. We're going to skip 13 and go right to 14. Should I take the flu shot? And during the recording of this video, should I get the COVID vaccine? Some neurologists will tell you no. Some will tell you yes. Some will tell you it depends on the timing. That's an important question for your neurologist, your MS specialist. You know, if you want to take it or if you don't, those are all conversations for your MS specialist. But getting the flu shot is important to know when and how to do it because of the way a DMT or a DMD affects your system. So should I get a flu shot or should I get a vaccine in general? Make sure you ask that before you do it. because it can cause some havoc in your system. Let's go back to question 13. Question 13. I'll do my 3 the way I've been doing my 3. Question 13. Let's go back to that one. What type of financial assistance is available, especially from drug companies? Good question. Some of your MS drugs are extremely expensive. For example, the drug that I just came off of, Tysabri, it's about 13 grand per infusion, and I get an infusion every 6 weeks. I just went on to Mavenclad, and Mavenclad's about 82 grand for 10 pills. I fortunately have insurance, and I'm on a study, so I don't have to pay for any of that. But if you get into that situation, many of the pharmaceutical companies have the ability to give you financial assistance. So don't freak out about prices until you weigh all the options with your neurologist. Talk about the different financial assistance that's available, and believe it or not, drug companies will work with you. They will do what they can to help you out, and there's other places to get assistance from. I mean, there are other MS societies and things like that you can find assistance from should you need it. Once again, everybody's different. Everybody's system's different. Everybody operates different. Everybody's financial situation is different. Some of us have the same neurologists that are in the area that I'm in. But by the way, if you're in Kansas and you're looking for a neurologist, let me know. I have a good one. I have a very good one. So, but anyway, I hope that kind of helps you get a jump start on asking questions to your neurologist, and getting your mind wrapped around this whole thing. The first and foremost thing that I would do is just allow yourself, once you've been diagnosed, that diagnosis process is kind of a shock to the system. Give yourself time to process. Give yourself time to process. Think through, and then start thinking systematically. What do I need to do first, second, third? But the key thing is, 1, talk to your primary care. 2, find an MS specialist. And then start writing down, as you think of questions, other than what I've shown you here, write them down. Because trust me, if you're like me, MS affects your short-term memory. So write them down. Anytime you think of one. I keep notepads. In fact, I've got 2 of them sitting right here. I keep notepads right by me all the time so I can write down things that I think about. I'm like, I should ask him this. Write it down. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be embarrassed to ask questions. And get those questions answered before you make any huge decisions. I hope this video was helpful for you. I will be available in any of the MS groups that I'm posting this video in. And you can contact me on YouTube as well. I hope you have a great day. I hope you get your questions answered. There will be more videos, so I will see you next time. Have a good day.